Greetings, dear viewers. I'm Quill Quickcard, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Shizune and Misha pull me towards the cafeteria, which is surprisingly not packed. Maybe some students favor eating in classroom or outdoors. I saw some of my classmates had box lunches. After we finish eating, Misha picks up where we left off earlier.
So, Hee-chan, you wanted to know about clubs and stuff, right? Right, Hee-chan. Okay, I guess it makes sense to ask first.
Exchanging little nods of confirmation, they turn to face me again, and Misha straightens her posture as if she is about to deliver a speech.
Hee-chan, do you have anything you're really interested in?
I used to play soccer, but I'm not really into it. I don't follow the teams and players or anything like that. As of late, I usually just read a lot.
There is a book club, right, Hee-chan? Right, but it seems like they have all the members they can possibly have right now. Sorry, Hee-chan, it's a really popular club.
Oh, thank God. I don't think they're going to force me onto the literature club. I don't think my heart could take adding a Monica into this.
Okay, but more to the point, Hee-chan. Does this mean that you don't have anything already in mind?
Not really. Why? What do you girls have in mind?
Good, great. That's great, Hee-chan. Really great.
Why is it so great?
No reason. Well, Hee-chan, other than clubs and the upcoming festival, there is one other thing. Student Council!
Oh God, no. I see. I didn't know the school had a student council. That was a very melodramatic setup, though, just to tell me that. I'm pretty sure that two of them know this, because Shizune looks a little embarrassed about it, and Misha is laughing. Shizune quickly retakes control of the discussion, in a manner of speaking. After all, it's still Misha who has the voice to say whatever she says.
Right. Hee-chan, maybe you should join the student council. They could use more people. Yes, definitely. You should definitely join.
Why?
Well, for one, we could hang out every day, Hee-chan. Shi-chan and I are both on the student council.
Yes, of course you are.
Actually, Shi-chan is the president.
Of course you are. I'm starting to get the suspicion that Shizune and Misha might not exactly be the most unbiased people to talk about this with. As if reading my mind, Shizune quickly adjusts her glasses and signs something to Misha.
Of course, we're not trying to get you just because we would obviously benefit from you joining the student council and therefore have an incentive to try and get you to.
So you're admitting that?
No, we admit nothing. I mean, Hee-chan, of course it would be nice if you joined and we'd appreciate it. But even without all that, joining the student council shows a healthy interest in the workings of one's school. Yep, it's true, Hee-chan. Besides, don't you want to spend time with us after school, Hee-chan?
I can't tell if she's being genuine or if this is just really good acting. Both of them seem to be trying their hard to look their cutest, although they are pretty cute to begin with. Well...
So it's settled then! Welcome to the student council, Hee-chan!
What? No!
Aw, see, Hee-chan? Of course it wouldn't go so easily. Yup, that's right. Though it would be boring if it went that smoothly. Oh well. Hee-chan owes me candy now.
we're betting on it? Hey, my life is not a game here. Shizune seems very intrigued by this when Misha signs it to her. The aggressive glint returns to her eyes.
That's interesting, Hee-chan. Let's play a game.
That's not what I said.
How about rich man, poor man, Hee-chan? If you lose, you have to join the student council.
I don't actually know the rules to that. No, absolutely not.
Aw, why not?
Well, because you both have the same incentive and therefore the same goal, which is to get me to join the student council, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that isn't my goal. But what this means is that both of you can team up and I'll be at a clear disadvantage. So I will have to decline.
Hee-chan, I'm very offended. Are you saying you don't trust us and that we would pull something so disingenuous? That makes me sad.
Sorry? It's hard to tell where Shizune's influence ends and Misha's thoughts begin.
In order to atone for hurting a young girl's feelings, you should definitely join the student council.
No.
How about a game of paper football instead of rich man, poor man?
Paper football?
Yeah, it's a game they play in America. You make a paper triangle, and then you try to shoot it past goalposts that the other player makes with their fingers. Isn't it cool? It's the ultimate form of competition between two people, Hee-chan.
Yeah, Shizune is as skeptical of that claim as I am.
And it's also played by elementary and middle school children, Hee-chan. And that means it's a game that really separates the boys from the men.
More like the boys from the slightly older boys. Anyway, I'm not going to play that either. Just the fact that you know about it means you're probably surprisingly good at it.
Yeah, that's true. How did you know, Hee-chan?
Shizune frowns at Misha, telling me that she probably wasn't supposed to admit that so readily. I wouldn't say that I'm happy with their attempts to get me into the student council, but I'm a little curious about what the student council does here. I've never been on one before, or even known anybody who was a member, so it interests me. I also kind of like Shizune and Misha, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Okay, Hee-chan, how about Risk, the game of world domination?
Okay, now you're starting to talk my language there, Misha. I don't know what that is.
It's really fun, Hee-chan. You fight for control of the world, with armies and everything.
Sounds like Shizune would be good at it.
If you want to play, we can after school. Oh, really, Hee-chan? We can play just for fun, Hee-chan. Hee-chan hasn't played in a long time, so if you want to, there are no strings attached.
Well, okay.
Okay. Perfect. We'll see you after school in the student council room then, Hee-chan.
Wait, why there?
Because that's where we keep the game.
I grimace to tell them how much I do not like this, but it's more for show than anything. So in the end, I agree, but only after getting Shizune to acknowledge that I don't mean anything concrete just by accepting to take a look around and play a game with her. Lunch ends, and we go back to class. Oh, there's that girl. During afternoon classes, the long-haired girl comes back and sits down in her seat without a word. Again, no one seems to notice. Or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Shizune and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and latch onto me, each covering each flank in case I might try to escape. I feel a little bit offended, but I've been considering it. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people have made a break for it in the past that they're on their guard. What's with the escort? This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported to his cell.
What's wrong, Hee-chan? That's right, we're just going to go play a game of Risk, remember?
I don't know, Misha. This all seems a little sinister to me. I start thinking that when we sit down to play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. Well, that's highly unlikely, but still. For some reason, it just seems like it would be so plausible. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we started. What? This is it? That's it? This makes you guys being on top of me seem a little silly.
That's not true, Hee-chan. Shi-chan says that when their life is threatened, people have shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed.
Life is threatened? Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffing face and puts her hands behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that. I know you heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's a very plain, sparsely decorated room, although it is quite large, maybe even a little larger than a classroom. There's a big table in the center surrounded by chairs, and a smaller desk prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps? Aside from the tables and chairs, the room doesn't have much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves stacked with old-school records and documents. Not much else. In fact, nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. They could at least put a potted plant in here or something. But the most noticeable thing that this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early?
No!
What do you mean, no? Does it mean nobody else is coming today?
Yeah, that's right.
Before I manage to ask why that's the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically.
Hee-chan, let's play Risk! Come on, you promised, didn't you? You have to!
Don't you dare challenge me against my Indo-European territory strategies.
Okay. Do you want to know the rules? We can explain to you while we set everything up.
While Misha is talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it on the table. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. After Misha spends a little too long for her liking, running through the basics with a somewhat vague and confusing tutorial, Shizune cuts in and declares the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arm through the air. Shizune's aggressiveness is rubbing off onto me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to be when I agreed to this. Halfway into the game, while I ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault on 2 fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her fingers on the table to get my attention.
Hee-chan, Shi-chan wants you to know that you are taking too long to make a move. Shi-chan also says that she will let you keep Australia if you agree to join the student council.
That's an absolute lie. I thought this was a game with no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head as an offer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no.
Shi-chan admires your fighting spirit and would be a benevolent dictator who will spare your people if you agree to join the student council.
It's so competitive, Shizune. She seems to take this as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little more magnanimous. Magnimo. Why am I so bad with that word? Yeah, magnanimous. I was right, magnanimous.
Magnanimous?
She doesn't seem to know what that word means or how it's signed, so she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who in return signs it back to Misha. Misha presses her index fingers against her temple, as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of her heated signing.
Wait, please slow down, Shi-chan. Shi-chan says you're going to lose.
Tell her I will crush her world empire with my rebellion.
Okay.
Those eyes of hers shine with childlike mischief. Oh god, look at her face. Oh, Shizune.
She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't.
Okay. I need to think here. So I know that I have Australia. And I know I'm being attacked on 2 fronts. So unless I was foolish and split my forces, probably I'm holding territories in Asia, which means that I might be being attacked from both the American continent as well as Europe. Now, in order to counter a simultaneous assault from America and Asia, or from America and Europe, so presumptively that means that Misha has to be controlling territories in Europe, Africa, and or South America. All of which can ultimately serve to pressure either Asia or America, but America in a significantly lesser capacity. So, I think the correct path is to attack very aggressively into the American continent. She is either really mocking me or trying to trick me. I have nothing else to lose, though, so I might as well try something different. Maybe if I spread out my forces and try to control more territories, I can recoup the advantage. Shizune seems to focus on conquering whole nations, so maybe I can sacrifice my hold on continents to gain more small countries. Seems my MC's rather going to do a partial attack into Europe, it sounds like. It's worth a shot. A few turns later, I end up losing the game anyway. Yeah, I told you should have gone for the assault on America. Shizune adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist in the air in celebration.
I win! Yay!
There's no need to translate that, it was pretty clear.
Don't look so sad, Hee-chan. You were really giving it your best. That's what I thought. Sometimes your best just isn't good enough, though. If anyone knows that, it's me. You did very well for someone who just learned how to play today. Hee-chan, you attacked Iceland and North America at the same time. That's a very daring move. Shi-chan is impressed. I did what?
Oh my god. Dude, I am not relating to a protagonist who, while playing a game of Risk, simultaneously attacks North America and Iceland from separate angles at the same time. I cannot respect that. I cannot condone it.
The mark of great people is that they are daring and that they can follow through. You're already halfway there. Isn't that great, Hee-chan? That isn't enough, though. Just potential isn't enough. There's no point to potential if you don't take the first step, and there is no point to that if you don't keep going. I want to see more. You're right, Shi-chan, but that's so demanding.
Shizune leans forward, suddenly looking a lot less playful and more like the serious person I expected her to be from the start. Hello?
Hee-chan, would you like to join the student council?
She really doesn't waste any time, does she? But it's only my second day of school, so I'm hesitant about committing to something so early. I haven't even taken a look at any other clubs yet. But spending time with Shizune and Misha doesn't seem like something I would hate. I still need more time to think about it before I decide for sure. Maybe. I'll get back to you on it.
Okay, Hee-chan, but I hope you're not just saying that so we don't feel bad.
No, really.
Really? Hee-chan, if you're going to say that, you're saying that it is definitely the truth, and there can't be any mistaking it.
I know. I guess I should have my revenge for losing, at the very least. Shizune smiles at that in a mischievous way. This is Shizune's mischievous smile, huh? God help me when I see how she expresses other emotions. In a mischievous way that feels like twisting the knife in the wound of my loss. I take a glance at the clock on the wall and realize I've spent far too long playing Risk than I expected. Far longer playing Risk than I expected. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right there on the wall.
It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Shi-chan. We think the library is open. It's on the second floor, can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is?
No thanks, it's okay. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye!
One flight of stairs up, and I run into problems. The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. The problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. The classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there is a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though, just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it seems that someone is inside and I can ask for directions, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to the school can't be shaken from my mind, so much that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. The door slowly creaks, as if groaning from a deep sleep, though there is much easier to open than I anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head even further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek hello on my lips is quickly snatched away. Oh! Well, hello. I need to come up with a voice for you. This is not going to end well, is it? This is not as I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me. Hello there. May I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me she's a being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi. Sorry for intruding. I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step towards another seat opposite her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That, and the slight cloudiness to her eyes, means that she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yamaku? Yeah, I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting. One which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action. I'm Lily Sato. Pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along a shelf. A brush here, a brush there, her left hand often lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. It seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate with me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, Her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance.
Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school.
The school library. She's an A and some classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring water into the teacup as she nods, a small metallic tapping coming from the teacup indicating it's being stirred.
I'm aware of Miss Hakamishi, as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no?
That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand.
He's quite a character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do.
As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. Really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell's quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Sato. Tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face.
Lily, please. There's no need to be too formal.
She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try and ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So, which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes.
Correct. I'm in class 3-2, which is on the 3rd floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and it is specifically for both blind and partially blind students.
I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the faux pas. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem in the least put off by it.
My, there's no need to change your speech on my account.
Sorry. Guess I'm really showing my newness here.
An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions.
A category which would include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Just as it is time to segue from one episode to the next. And I will see you all on the next one.